This is a secondary channel, and you probably expect secondary content. Shaky camera and all. First person perspective, and I'm giving you an unedited view of what my house is like, at least in the basement. I didn't clean or anything, so it's a bit embarrassing, so let's leave. But I have future projects everywhere. And I guess you should get some insight if you're here on the secondary channel into what I'm making at times. This is an old thing. Fishing lures. Maybe I'll make a video about it. But let's take a look at some of the ideas that have been twirling around inside of my head. Look at this curve. Y equals 1 divided by x. I was thinking about making a video about this, but I'm not sure how I would do it. Let's look at the graph of it though. Y equals 1 divided by x. And this is why you can see mathematically that you can never divide by 0. Look at its graph. Its 0 value is just, it can't be defined. It's how high up or how low it goes is an infinite value at 0. So anyhow, let's graph the curve. Okay, so we graph the curve, and then we make a template of the curve. And then we copy the curve on the lathe. It's just been thrown on a faceplate. Yeah, welcome to my real world. Not that scripted one that you see all the time. Now, why would we want to do this? I don't know. Because it's interesting, and that's what I do. Here's a couple more examples. But what ideas did I come up with for this? Lots. One idea that I had was kind of a red versus blue version of the game. Where, remember that old maze where there were 2 knobs on it? And one knob would control one axis and the other knob would control the other axis. Well, imagine that the game board adjusts in that way by 2 people controlling it. And then it's kind of a versus battle to see who can avoid getting their marble stuck in the well. But considering that you can only control one axis, your ability to keep your marble from going in the well is severely restricted. I think that was kind of a fun idea. I don't know. What else do we have? Oh, yeah, this work of art. This is a, what's it called? You know this. A gimbal Steadicam. Kind of a failure. I think I can chalk it up to failure, but I might make a more detailed explanation about what it is, what it did, how it was built, what its problems were, possible ways to improve it, etc. Illusion cubes. Yeah, I'll get to that eventually. Oh boy, ideas. I have clipboards full of ideas. Really, literally. Well, let's see. What are we working on? This was one of my more recent ones. The premise was using a fractal as a design for a television antenna, those HD television antennas. So I made one of this shape, and it worked moderately well, about as well as any piece of randomly looped speaker wire would work. This was far too complex, so I gave up. This design, I tried this because it was a copy of a very popular design online. This is actually 2 pieces. Copper wire, focus, soldered together, and then wrapped with thinner gauge copper wire to make these nice joints. And then it was arranged into this sort of symmetrical pattern that the design called for. And I think the premise is foggy at best, the explanation as to the physical explanation as to why this is supposed to work, which, now that I've done some experimentation and done enough reading, I'm not going to waste any more time with the idea. That I think that the idea was that because it can arrange itself into larger and smaller versions of the same repeated geometry, that it would capture different sizes of wavelength, or wait, amplitude. I don't know, I just got distracted by that chipmunk. Doesn't matter, I gave up on it. Do your own research. What else? How close is a 7/16 wrench to an 11mm in size? Work out the math for yourself, or check mine, and you'll see that it's very close. Those wrenches are interchangeable, for all practical purposes anyways. Oh boy, elliptical procession. This was made by a harmonograph, believe it or not. Some of my, don't read that, theorizing as to what causes various processions. Oh, the harmonograph, did I tumble down the rabbit hole with that. I'm not even sure I want you guys to see some of this stuff. It's a little bit embarrassing. Untested theory, speculation, just random thoughts about the things that I was reading. Let's see. Oh boy. Yeah, get out of there. It's too personal. This is the graph that I was just talking about. Ideas for videos, gear designs for machines. Oh my. Yeah, it's a mess inside of my brain, I swear. So here's an idea. That's what the gears were for. This was supposed to be gear driven. Yeah, that's my vacuum filter in there. And I was hoping that the centrifugal force would clean the filter off. Does it work? No. And it's a pain to assemble. But it was unfinished. I wasted far too much time on it. But the second idea, because centrifugal force is just a complete waste, it was a total waste of exploration. The second idea was to use this is polyethylene from a milk jug, was to use this. I can't do it with one hand. See this? It was supposed to be gear driven, and as it spun, this was supposed to agitate. And it worked. The prototype worked very well. I just never pursued it, like many things. Why? Because I got sidetracked on something else, like this. So you want to fill your chainsaw, and the stupid gas thing, I just don't even want to talk about it. It just makes me angry. In order to make this thing work, you have to push the spout while you're trying to, this is for refilling gas, you have to push the spout so hard that it knocks the chainsaw over. It's entirely impractical. We're sacrificing far too much in the name of safety. And there's a really good Benjamin Franklin quote about that, which I'll put right there. Read it. Yeah, isn't that a good quote? Told you. Well, any gas can that you buy nowadays comes with these stupid spouts that are barely even usable. But, okay, this is, my incoherent rambling is going on too long, so I'll close with what I'm working on right now. Look at this. I'm going to use this. It's a scale model. I'm going to use it and use some kind of like video trickery to use this as kind of like my real life SketchUp model on how to build this. We're going to be making one of these this week. It's a fun project. You can store away your stuff. And Dad gave me a bunch of scrap cedar. Thanks, Dad. Maybe I'll take you up to his camp to meet him someday. And that's enough insight into my weirdness for today. Have a good day, guys.